Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hearthstone, and as you can see, it's the Kobolds and Catacombs expansion now. Today is day 1, and we get some free legendary loot, as well as 56 I think now, packs to open, which is awesome. We got Kingsbane. This appears to be, I'm guessing, the Paladin weapon, although it looks like it might be classless. Interesting. That's pretty good. Alright, well, here we go. Oh man, I forgot. Dungeon runs are out now too. Man, I can't wait to do a video of one of those. But for now, looks like we did only have 53. The 3 that were waiting must have just opened. For now, let's go ahead and get started on cracking open the packs and see what kind of luck we get. Oh man. Pretty excited about this expansion so far. There's some really cool new mechanics and card combos that I've seen that I'm excited to check out. 2 rares, not bad. Let's see. Fungal Enchanter, please reveal a spell in each deck. If yours costs more, draw it. That's pretty good for Mage. I could see that being good in like a Tempo or maybe Quest Mage type deck. Primal Talismans. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, I like this. I've seen there's the new Shaman Legendary that combos with this really well that gives you a free Alakir the Windlord if you have all 4 basic totems, so that's cool. Ironwood Golem is interesting. I could see it being worth it if you have the 3 or more armor, definitely. I'm not sure about a 3/6 for 4 mana, if not. The fact that it can't attack is a bit but you know, you could always do it later on. It's not like it's a battle cry, so there's potential there. And Gather Your Party, I'm sure could be very good, though Warrior is probably my weakest class collection-wise, so we'll have to see if we get some other good pulls. We're going to be going through these a little bit more slowly at the beginning, just as we're checking out some of these for the first time. First legendary. Oh, nice. Okay, we got a Mage legendary. But we'll be speeding up later on once we start hitting repeats. Anyways, so we got Dragoncaller Alana. This is pretty cool. It summons a 5/5 dragon for each spell you've cast this game that costs 5 or more mana. And it's a 3/3, which is stat-wise, but from what I've seen on discussion, it seems like this card is pretty worth it if you can have at least 5 cards like at least 2 cards that you've played over 5 mana. Getting 2 5/5 dragons in the 3/3 is great value, and if you can get more power to you. We'll see if I end up using this. It's going to kind of depend on how strong Mage ends up being this expansion. I'm thinking pretty strong though. Besides that, we got Arcane Artificer. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to its cost. He's a 1 mana 1/2 elemental, which is nice. Kind of cool. Interesting seeing Mage getting an armor generation creature. I kind of like that. Gilded Gargoyle. He's a 3 mana 2/2 priest card. Death Rattle, add a coin to your hand. Interesting. Not sure I'll be using this necessarily, but definitely a cool card. It does give you a free spell / card for Raza combos and stuff, so maybe we'll see it, but I'm not so sure. Gem-Studded Golem, 6 mana 5/9 taunt. He can only attack if we have 5 or more armor. Interesting. Should fit. I think they're trying to bring back Control Warrior. I'm not sure that the meta's quite there yet, but you can see there's a lot of tools for it. Maybe in the next expansion we'll have enough, or maybe we'll get a surprise this one. And then last but not least, we got Explosive Runes. It's a secret for mages. After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it and any excess to their hero. This spell is awesome. This is like, to me, this is like a higher value version of Snipe or something like that, or really any removal. I love the idea that even if they are smart enough to try and play around your secret, you still get value from the card. So if they play a 1/1, you still hit them for 5 after you kill their minion, which is pretty great. I have a feeling Explosive Runes is definitely going to see play in a lot of Mage decks, at least secret Mage decks. All right, we got to get moving here. Next up, we have pack number 3. Got some repeats this time, and a new one, Dire Mole, 1 mana, 1/3. It's like he's a beast. He's got the beast tag, so that does add a little bit of value. I could see this getting some play, but honestly, I'd rather go for a elemental. What's it? The one that adds another Flame Spirit, I think it is, that adds the other elemental minion to your hand. We got another Gilded Gargoyle, and our first 2 Spell Stones. Nice. This is a new mechanic I'm pretty excited about. I don't know how good it's going to be for everyone, or for every class, but there's some really cool ones. So the way these work, we have 2 mana, Lesser Spellstone. It will summon a 2/2 spirit with Taunt. Then you can restore 3 health to upgrade, so if you've healed for 3 it will trigger it to a medium level spellstone. I'm not totally sure what the modifier is for this one off the top of my head, but it's probably either summoning an additional 2/2 or making it like a 4/4 or something like that. It's probably an additional one with this, and usually they can be upgraded twice, so probably up to 3. Apologies if I'm guessing wrong on that. Lesser Sapphire Spellstone. This is cool. This could be great in Evolve Shaman, depending on if Overload is a thing. It's a 7 mana, which is crazy, to summon 1 copy of a friendly minion. However, you can overload it if you've overloaded 3 times. If you've overloaded 3 mana crystals once, you'll get 2 copies of the minion, and if you've overloaded them 3 mana crystals twice, then you can get 3 copies of it. I want to specify that though, because it can only be triggered in one go at a time. So let's say you had overloaded 2 mana crystals, so it was 2/3 of the way to that. If you then overload another 2 mana crystals in a single go, like from one card, that's only gonna flip this once. It's not gonna flip it once and give you another 1 towards the next one. At least that's my understanding. So definitely potential with this card, especially if you had the right combo with Evolve, but I don't know about that mana cost. We'll have to see. Dark Pact is just awesome. This is like Demonic Sacrifice on crack. 1 mana, destroy a friendly minion. The fact that it doesn't have to be a minion means you can use it on your egg, which you know I'll be doing, one of my favorite cards. And then it restores 8 health to your hero for 1 mana. I mean, good card. Definitely think we'll be seeing Dark Pact. Alright, next up. We got just a basic pack, but we got some cards that I actually wanted. So Greedy Sprite is interesting. This is another ramp card for Druid. Probably a little bit weaker, I would say, than most of the ramp cards, but still a decent option. The problem with it is if your opponent doesn't remove it, then you have to suicide it or whatever to trigger the extra mana crystal, which means rather than it being going from 3 mana to 5 mana over 2 turns, you actually are going to be going from 4 to 6, which can kind of mess up your ramp a little bit. Not quite as good as I'd say as like say the what's the 4 mana one that can summon an ooze or gain an empty mana crystal. Interesting though. Fungal Enchanter we already saw. I don't really have an opinion on it at the moment. Toothy Chest, this is a new one. At the start of your turn, set this minion's attack to 4. He's a 3 mana 4/4 basically. I actually like that card. I could see it getting play. I definitely see it as being a pretty good arena card. As long as it doesn't get removed by like Priest or something, there's potential there since it can't attack that first turn anyways. Like it's just if they don't have a board, you're pretty safe playing that. I like this card. Another Fungal Enchanter, their first disenchant, and a Cavern Shiny Finder. I was thinking it was a Shiny Cavern Finder. So this is a Kobold that he's a 2 mana 3/1 rogue card, and his battle cry draws a weapon from your deck. Now this is pretty good on its own, but it's even better when you combine it with the rogue legendary weapon, which really benefits from being drawn and played early on because it has a death rattle that summons a minion, and then the minion's death rattle summons back or puts the weapon back in your hand. So you can repeatedly play it to get the most value. You want to get it as early as possible, and so using Cavern Shiny Finder, you can pull it like really early on, which is pretty cool. Let's see what we get here. I'm ready for some epics. We haven't gotten any epics yet. And another legendary. I wouldn't complain. Just another basic pack. We got some new ones, though. Guild Recruiter, 5 mana 2/4. Recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. Interesting. I'm very curious to see how Recruit goes. I think we could see some fun kind of evolution of the big priest type deck, Barnes decks and stuff like that with this new Recruit mechanic. It should be interesting to see how that develops. Shroom Brewer, he's a 4 mana 4/4 for all classes. Battlecry restores 4 health. Not a bad card, but probably not an auto-include by any means. I could see it having some utility in like Arena, or even in certain edge cases, maybe for like Zoolock or something like that, just for the health restoration, but hard to say until we see the meta evolve a little bit. We also got a 2 mana 1/1 Dry Gulch Jailer. He's a paladin card. Death Rattle adds 3 Silverhand recruits to your hand. Don't really have an opinion about the Silverhand meta yet because we've seen Silverhand kind of come and go in popularity, and I'm not super confident that it's going to be something. But if it is, this is a good card to ramp into certain combos that require you to have a certain number of Silverhand recruits on the board or having been played. Let's adjust the mic here a little bit, sorry. Alright, next up we got Wax Elemental. 1 mana 0/2 Taunt Divine Shield, and he has the Elemental tag. That's actually pretty interesting. I think this could see play. I mean, it's you know, it reminds me of a bit is Annoyatron. It's a shame he doesn't have any attack, but having that elemental tag is pretty big. I guess Annoyatron was a mech, so it's like a slightly worse one, but I could see there being potential in this guy. And then Possessed Lackey. It's another recruit card, so I'm not really exactly sure how good it'll be. You could construct a pretty good deck around it, though, if you had all high-value demons in the deck. Be a bit of a bummer, though, to play a 5-mana 2/2 and just get a, you know, like a Flame Imp or something. Although even then, maybe you wouldn't. Then I don't think you'd get the Battle Cry, but still, not obviously not good for all situations, but could have potential. 1 sec here, gonna take a drink. Lots of talking. Just another pretty basic pack here, but got some more cards that I was pretty excited to check out. Fungalmancer is interesting. Battlecry gives adjacent minions 2/2. I like that it's a Battlecry. I like that unlike some other, you know, adjacent minion type cards, it doesn't require it to stay in play. And it seems like the mana cost is about where it should be. It kind of feels a little bit expensive, but I think that I'm probably just reacting strongly to a 5-mana 2/2, and what's important is the adjacent minion buff. Probably not worth playing on its own, but if you do have, I mean, obviously not worth playing on its own, but if you do have 1 to 2 minions, 2 minions definitely would be worth it. 1, you might want to use it situationally. I'll be interested to see how this card shakes out, if it becomes like a new, you know, Direwolf Alpha type thing. We got Shrieking Shroom over here, 3 mana, 1/2 for all classes. At the end of your turn, summon a random 1-cost minion. This is a cool card. I like it. I like that it is kind of a, it's basically like a Primal Fin totem, except it could have even more power because you could get a good 1-cost, like a really good 1-cost minion. I suppose you could get a really bad one too, though. That said, definitely has potential in my eyes for Evolve Shaman and maybe some other Mighty Minion type decks. Unidentified Elixir. Yes. So we come to the first unidentified card. This is another new card type, and it's actually pretty darn cool. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the bonus effects in front of me right now, so we're just going to have to discover those later on. But the way it works is it's a 3-mana priest card, gives a minion 2/2, and then gains a bonus effect in your hand. And that can be stuff like draw a card or give it Divine Shield and +2 or +0/+2 or something like that. I'm just making these up here, but the idea is it gives an additional benefit, usually about equal to the initial benefit, as a bonus effect. But it's random, usually between 4 different effects, I believe, every game, and it'll change every time. Pretty cool idea. I like it. We got another Shiny Finder, always nice, and a Sewer Crawler, 3 mana, 1/1, all classes. Battlecry summons a 2/3 giant rat, which is probably a beast. Interesting. I'm not really sure that that'll necessarily see play, though. Boy, we got a lot to go. All right, so we've got some more cool cards here in our first epic. So, and it's like one of the worst ones in the set. I'm convinced this card exists to troll Evolve Shaman, so that you evolve an 8-mana minion and get a 2/4 out of it. But it is cool. It's an end of turn effect. I'm not sure if if dragons are necessarily going to be a huge thing, at least through this card. 9 mana is a lot to be recruiting. I feel like in most dragon decks, you have dragons in your hand that are expensive, so it's not so much of an issue, but definitely good for keeping tempo going. Maybe a situational card, probably not in every deck. We got Flanking Strike, deal 3 damage to a minion, summon a 3/3 wolf. Seems pretty good. Some hunter control, not amazing. Probably go into some sort of mid-range type decks, but there's better tools, I think. Shroom Brewer, we've seen. Unidentified Shield, another unidentified card. This is the Warrior one. For 6 mana, you gain 5 armor, and then it gains a bonus effect in your hand. And I actually remember a couple of the bonus effects from this one. One of them is to gain 5 armor and then gain an additional 10 armor for the bonus effect. One is to gain 5 armor and you get a 5/2 weapon, which is pretty awesome. I believe one is to summon a 5/5 minion in addition to the armor gain, and I'll be honest, I'm blanking on the 4th one, so forgive me. But yeah, pretty darn cool, and you can kind of get an idea of the flexibility with that. This is a little pricey, but I think it'd be worth it in a Control Warrior deck, probably. Sudden Betrayal. This is a cool card. When a minion attacks your hero, it instead attacks one of its neighbors. This is obviously one of the new rogue secrets, which is pretty exciting. They've said that they're not going to do a full toolkit of rogue secrets. They just are releasing some for this expansion. We may not even see more in the next expansion, but definitely cool to see the class I'd most expect to use traps after Hunter be using like secrets and stuff. This one will redirect a minion attacking your hero, and what's cool about it is it attacks one of its neighbors, which means it's presumably guaranteed to attack one of your own friendly minions when your minion gets redirected. Pretty cool. Come on, give me something good. Got a couple of rares. We got Gather Your Party again. Hoarding Dragon. This is a weird card. I don't like it. They're trying to flesh out dragons, I can tell. It's a 4 mana. It's for all classes. It's a 5/6. Pretty good. Death Rattle gives your opponent 2 coins, which I really don't like because I could see certain decks benefiting from that pretty hugely. But at the same time, if you have the right hand and the right momentum, I could see this card having a place in some dragon decks. Dire Mole, we've talked about. Stone Skin Basilisk. Ooh, classic from Warcraft. This is a 3 mana 1/1 Divine Shield Poisonous. I feel like if it had 2 toughness, I'd be more into it, but honestly, I'd almost prefer a big gastropod. I suppose you could use it for huge value, though. This is going to be a situational one. I'm not sure how much we'll see it in Constructed. It is a beast, so, but their hunters have so many 3-drops. We'll have to play that one by ear. Lone Champion is a 3 mana 2/4 all classes. His battle cry is if you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. This is an awesome card, and I could see this being used in plenty of decks that don't have a lot of early game. This is a great high value taunt card in my opinion. I think the stats are, I think with Taunt and Divine Shield the stats are actually really great. So yeah, I definitely think we'll see this get in some play. Alrighty. Nothing too exciting here. We got a Potion of Heroism. Gives a minion Divine Shield and draws a card for 2 mana. Super awesome. I think definitely be seeing Paladins running that. Kobold Illusionist. 4 mana 3/3 Death Rattle. Summons a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand. This is a bit of a more situational one, but I definitely see some pretty cool value potential here. It's basically going to be doing something similar to Barnes, except you have a little more control over it, so you can do some cool stuff. Barkskin is a weird druid card that has some value, but I'm not so sure it'll see play. 1 mana, gives a minion +3 health and you gain 3 armor. Cool as a utility card. I don't know how much druids actually need their minions to have more health, but the 3 armor gain synergizes with quite a few druid abilities in this expansion, including their Spellstone, so there's that at least. Not totally sure we'll see play on this one. I don't think so, but I've been wrong before. We got a Potion of Heroism, number 2, nice, and an Oaken Summons, 4 mana druid card, gain 6 armor, recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. Seeing more druid armor gain cards, which is always interesting, and another recruit ability, pretty cool. 4 mana too seems pretty reasonable for that. 4 or less, though, is worth keeping in mind. Alright. We got not a whole lot to work with here, but all new cards except for, well, a couple new cards. We got Kobold Librarian. He's a 1 mana 2/1. You can draw a card, and with his battle cry, and he deals 2 damage to your hero. If you do not see this card and lose it with how overpowered it is, then you're missing something here, because 1 mana, draw a card, and you get a 2/1 on the board. The 2 damage is basically irrelevant. You're drawing a card for 1 mana. This is so good in Zulak. I'm sure we're going to see it in quite a few Warlock decks this expansion. Talked about Guild Recruiter. Psionic Probe copies a spell in your opponent's deck and adds it to your hand. It's a 1 mana priest spell. Cool. I mean, it's just another Thoughtsteel type card from priests, but interesting for sure. Cool to give you more flexibility with that, to be able to just do one for 1 mana. And then we got Grizzled Guardian for Druid. This is an 8 mana 3/5 Taunt, Death Rattle, Taunt with the Death Rattle, recruit 2 minions that cost 4 or less. Not so sure about the mana cost on this one. Seems a little bit high, but there's a lot of value to recruit towards the end of the game. This is something that I think a lot of people might not think about when they see the high mana costs on these recruit minions. The fact that it says 4 or less is actually pretty important because you don't want to have 1-drops coming out on turn 7. So what this does is it pulls some of those out of your deck and increases the likelihood of you drawing other high mana cost, high value drops towards the end game. So Recruit kind of has a secondary job of helping purge weaker minions of your out of your deck, which is kind of cool. And then we got another Bark Skin. All right, got an epic, awesome, Branching Paths. Choose twice, draw a card, give your minions +1 attack, gain 6 armor. It is a 4 mana druid card, and my understanding is that you can choose the same thing twice, which makes this a very cool, very flexible card. I see it being played in aggro token druid. I see it possibly being even played in maybe Big Druid, probably not Jade Druid, they have plenty of draw. But what's cool about this is, you know, for what you may not have noticed for Token Druid is this is a permanent give your minions +1 attack, or +2 if you choose that twice, which is kind of crazy actually. It just gives Druids yet another way to do a huge swing, like with a board of pretty small minions all in one turn. Definitely cool. We got a Benevolent Genie, or Jinn, however you prefer it. At the end of your turn, restores 3 health to your hero, and he's a 3 mana 2/4. Pretty good. He's an elemental, which is definitely cool. 3 mana 2/4, okay stat-wise, but the fact that it can repeatedly restore health to your hero, and this is a paladin we're talking about, where they don't have a ton of direct heals. They have a couple of like spells that can heal and stuff, but not everyone runs them. And that they have so much taunt and divine shield, I could see this getting pretty good value. This is pretty decent. Not the best thing ever, but definitely I could see it being played. Crystal Lion, 6 mana paladin card. This is divine shield, he's a 5/5. He has divine shield, and he costs 1 less for each Silverhand recruit you control. So that is currently on the board. This is kind of the main card I was referencing when I was talking about how there's a couple cards that will add Silverhand recruits, and they combo with this. We get a new Hydra, Cave Hydra. This is a 3 mana 2/4 hunter card. He's a beast, and he also attacks the minions next to whomever he attacks, which is pretty cool, especially because he doesn't attack them, he damages them, meaning theoretically you could attack a 1/1 and he would deal 2 damage to the adjacent minions and only take 1 damage himself, which is pretty cool. I think he's a 3-drop, which sucks because Hunter has so many 3-drops, but I think this card could be played, and I'd like to see it played because I think it's pretty neat. And then we got another Benevolent Jinn or Genie. Next up, another Cave Hydra. Green Jelly, ooh, our first ooze type card. It's a 5 mana 3/3 for all classes. At the end of your turn, summons a 1/2 ooze with taunt. Pretty cool, especially because there's some cards that will trigger end of turn effects in this expansion, so you can get some more value out of it. Not the best card ever, but I always like an ooze. Dry Gulch Jailer, we talked about him earlier. That's the one that synergizes with the lion we were just looking at. And we've talked about Shriek and Shroom, so let's talk about Sleepy Dragon. 9 mana 4/12 Taunt Dragon. I kind of like it, honestly. Depending on how much silence gets run in this expansion, I could see this definitely being high value. And with Control looking like it's going to be kind of making a bit of a comeback, I think that this is going to be a solid counter to things like Dragonfire Potion as well. Obviously, because it's a dragon. Not sure I'll run it in my Dragon Priest. We'll see how it tests. Alright, we got another unidentified elixir, another Raven Familiar, another Flanking Strike, another Dire Mole, and new thing is 3 mana priest card called Twilight's Call. It summons 1/1 copies of 2 friendly Death Rattle minions that died this game. Potentially awesome. I don't really use Death Rattle that much with priest, but you could imagine like getting, well, they have to be, I think they have to be 2 different minions, it's worth noting, but can you imagine getting like a double egg or something like that? It could be really high value. I'm not sure. It'll depend on how much Death Rattle becomes like an archetype for priest, I think, on this one. And to the next pack. I'm about due for another legendary now, aren't I? Nothing. And almost all of these are repeats, although I don't believe Kobold Apprentice is. This is pretty cool. 3 mana, 2/1, Battlecry, deal 3 damage, randomly split among all enemies. Personally, I don't like cards that cost more than 1 mana that have only 1 toughness, but the Battlecry is kind of cool and could get good value. I doubt, though, that this is going to see a lot of play outside of Arena, though I've been wrong before. Alright, give me something good. 2 rares, alright. Here's a new one, a 5 mana neutral card, Trog Gloom Eater, and he is a 1/5 taunt poisonous. Actually really interesting. I think he might be a little expensive. I think he should be 4 mana maybe, but I don't think he's going to see a ton of play, but I think it's a pretty cool card, and I'd like to see more poisonous minions that are designed to last more than a turn, like the Divine Shield one we saw earlier. We got Duskbreaker, new Priest Dragon. Ooh, this is a good one. 4 mana, 3/3 dragon. Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all other minions. Man, Duskbreaker is awesome. This is so good. Priests get yet another AoE board clear, and this one goes on turn 4, and it does 3 damage, and like, oof, I love this. I think this is fantastic. This is like a Hellfire with a free minion, basically. I think we're going to see Duskbreaker in a lot of decks. I think that some priests may even mix in Duskbreaker in non-dragon decks just because it's another board clear. Definitely excited about this pull. We also got Silver Vanguard. That is a Death Rattle, 7 mana, 3/3 neutral card. Death Rattle recruits an 8-cost minion. Pretty cool, actually. There's some pretty strong 8-cost minions out there, so this could get good value. The only problem being, it's got to be presumably at least turn 6, even if you had a coin, and the likelihood of you not having it in your hand already is not the highest ever. So situational, probably not in every deck, but maybe in 1 or 2. Unidentified Maul is a 3 mana 2/2 weapon for Paladin. It is straight up, just like all the other unidentified cards, it gains a bonus effect. It does not have a primary effect outside of its power and toughness, so this just gets random effects. And some of them are pretty cool. Unfortunately, I do not have them in front of me. Sorry, guys. We'll see them the first time I use it. Another pack down. Got some new cards, but not a lot of value. Awesome. We got the new Sludge. We're going to need these. I have a feeling Weapon Destruction is going to be pretty big this expansion, considering that every class is getting a new legendary weapon. So having this option is definitely going to be good. Corrosive Sludge is a 5 mana, 5/5 neutral card with the battle cry, destroy your opponent's weapon. Solid. We also got, let's see, Vulgar Homunculus is a new one. He's a 2 mana, 2/4 Warlock minion. He has Taunt and a Battle Cry that deals 2 damage to your hero. This is pretty good. It's a demon, so it does count towards the demon count. It's good for stalling in like a control lock type deck. You can, play this turn 2 after you played your Voidwalker out of your hand. The 2 damage, again, not the biggest deal in the world with the way that a lot of Zoo decks are played. So this is a potentially good card. I can see this maybe getting some play. Not an auto-include by any means, but maybe getting some play. I wish it was maybe a 2/5 instead, but Shifting Scroll. So this is a mage card with no basic mana cost. The way it works is that each turn it's in your hand, it transforms into a random mage spell. So good. I think you'll see it in pretty much every mage deck that has any kind of dependence on using random spells, keeping tempo going. I mean, you can do some really cool stuff with this. You could use this to get whatever secret you need. You could use it to get a clutch burn. Obviously, it's luck of the draw what spell you're going to get, but let's be honest, most mage spells are pretty good. So, yeah, that's definitely a good pull as well. Okay, now we're definitely due for another legendary. Come on. Got some new stuff again, at least. Potion of Heroism we've talked about. Dry Whisker Armorer, however, is pretty interesting. Another warrior armor armor generator. He's a 2 mana 2/2 warrior specific, and his battle cry, for each enemy minion you gain 2 armor, which is really good in certain situations, although I have to wonder if an armor smith isn't better just for the consistency. This could have a really big swing of armor gain all at once, but the armor smith is nice because it kind of pays out over time and also impedes your opponent a bit more. interesting. I think it'll probably see play if Control Warrior is a thing. Greedy Sprite again. Candle Shot. 1 mana weapon. I love it. This is a hunter weapon. It does 1 damage 3 times. It's got a durability of 3, and you're immune while attacking with it, which is actually kind of cool. I don't think this is going to be in a lot of hunter decks, but I think it's a cool card, and I'm glad they made it. And we got our second Corrosive Sludge for the playset, which is great. 36 more to go. All right, some new ones again. A golden common, my god. So we've seen this guy several times. Wandering Monster is a new one. This is a hunter secret. It's 2 mana. When your enemy, I guess, of course, it's 2 mana. But when your enemy attacks a hero, summon a 3-cost minion as the new target. It's pretty cool, actually. I kind of like this. The fact that it just summons a 3-cost minion means it could obviously swing high or low, but basically it's like a hunter version, a better almost hunter version of was it Valiant Defender or whatever, the 1/2 that will intercept an attack. So pretty cool, actually. I like that. We got Sneaky Devil. He is a 4 mana 2/2 neutral card. He has stealth, and your other minions have +1 attack while he's in play. Pretty cool. A little expensive. Not necessarily expensive for him having stealth and all that, but a little expensive for the slot I feel like he's trying to fill. But I'll be interested to see if he gets put into some like aggro decks or something like that. Ah, there we go. Wow, another basic pack, killing me. All right, well, this is not new. Here's a new one. Some anti-dragon. That's interesting. So this is a 3 mana neutral card, Dragon Slayer. It is a 4/3 with the battle cry, deal 6 damage to a dragon. I think it kind of speaks for itself. I think it's probably going to be too situational to be used unless we see more than one dragon deck in the meta, or dragon becomes like, you know, the #1 somehow. But always cool to have these kinds of like specific cards. It's cool, especially good for if, you know, somebody like discovers a random class card and you can pull this or whatever. Next up we got Plated Beetle. He's a 2 mana 2/3 neutral, and his Death Rattle gains 3 armor. Probably combos pretty well with both Warrior and Druid. We got Flanking Strike again, and another Kobold Librarian. Nice to get the second one if we didn't have it already. Drink break. Drink break just in time for the epic. This is a pretty interesting card, the Falderai Strider. This is a card that I want to be good, but I don't know if it will be. It's all based on when you first play it and how many of the ambushes you draw. I think if you drew 1 ambush, it'd be worth it. I mean, honestly, a 4 mana 4/4 is not the worst thing ever. And Rogue can use, it doesn't hurt Rogue to have some bigger minions. My only issue with this is that it is a bit random. That said, what's cool about it is when you draw the ambushes, I believe that does not actually count as drawing a card. I think you get to draw again after that. I could be mistaken, so let me know if I'm mistaken on that, but I think that's the case. We got Healing Rain, Shaman card, 3 mana. Restores 12 health, randomly split among all friendly characters. That's an interesting one. What I want to know is, does it overheal? It probably does. The question would be, if I have, you know, let's say, math, 18 health, and I have 3 full health minions, is it guaranteed to heal me for 12? Or is it still split randomly among those 3 minions and me, even though they have full health? I think it's probably the latter, so keep an eye on this one. I'm not so sure. Dire Mole, we've seen. Sewer Crawler, we've seen. Greedy Sprite, we've seen. Give me a legendary, god dang it. Man, you're killing me. All right, well, we got another Spellstone. This is the Druid Spellstone, which I mentioned having synergy with the 3 armor gain cards. The way this one works, 1 mana for 2 damage. 1 mana to deal 2 damage by default. If you gain 3 armor, becomes 1 mana for 4 damage. If you gain 6 armor, well, if you upgrade it twice, I should say, as we talked about how upgrades work earlier, then you'll want to, or then it's going to deal 6 damage for 1, which is pretty awesome. 1 mana Fireball. A bit situational, but I see this getting some play. And we've talked about everything else except for Seeping Oozling. We got another Ooze, nice. 6 mana Hunter card. He's a 5/4 with the battle cry, gain the death rattle of a random minion in your deck. Could be pretty awesome if you got the right death rattle, but if not, it could also be pretty troublesome. I see this being paired with maybe a specific legendary as the only death rattle minion or something like that. Alright, another garbage pack, and we got one new card, the Kobold Monk. It's a 4 mana neutral card, and he's a 3/6. Your hero can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. It's actually pretty cool, especially with 6 toughness, because against almost anything but mage, I see that actually causing some difficulty for them. Especially if you had some way to give this Shroud, but I'm not sure that would be feasible. Interesting card. I don't think it's going to see a ton of play, but you never know. Hey, another epic. We got Level Up. Oh, this is pretty cool. So here's a Silverhand Recruit synergy. Gives all Silverhand Recruits 2/2 and Taunt. That's pretty rad. That does make me think Silverhand Recruits have a little bit more potential. What would be especially cool is if you did something like played a bunch of Silverhand Recruits using some combination of cards that drop them faster than your hero power into God, what is his name? The 3/7 legendary paladin minion that will turn all minions into 3/3s, then drop Level Up the next turn. Then you'd have a bunch of 5/5s with Taunt. That would be pretty awesome. We got a Lesser Pearl Spellstone. We've talked about that one before. We've talked about actually everything else here, but there's some synergy. I wonder if Silverhand Recruit will be a powerful deck type. It'd be pretty interesting. Hey, our first pack of all repeats. I feel like we have not gotten an amazing payout, but we're not even halfway through, or we're just barely halfway through. At least we got a golden rare, I think. Get some dust out of this. We'll probably be able to craft 1 or 2 legendaries, probably 1. Everything here is a repeat except for this guy. So this is the Kobold Barbarian. He's a 3 mana warrior minion. He's got 4 power, 4 toughness, and at the start of your turn, he attacks a random enemy. Interesting. I actually kind of like it, because it's a random enemy, not a random enemy minion, which means, well, the question is, does that count as his attack this turn? I actually am not totally sure. That could be a pretty good card if it doesn't count as your attack. Well, it could be a pretty good card anyways, but it could be especially good if it doesn't count towards your attack for that turn. I'll be interested to see how exactly that ruling is made. Hey, our second legendary. We got Rakdalar. Yes, you guys know it from World of Warcraft if you ever played a hunter. This is a 7 mana 4/2 hunter weapon. Battle cry is if your deck has no minions, fill your hand with hunter spells. It is, from what I've seen, the worst of all of the legendary weapons, and I'm so unsurprised that I pulled it. Jeez. It's basically garbage. I can't think of any situation where I would have a deck with no minions that I'd want a handful of hunter spells unless I'm just desperate and have no cards left in my deck. So I know they want Control Hunter to be a thing, you guys, but like, I don't know about this card, especially 7 mana. We'll see. Let's see. We also got a Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. This is the Warlock Spellstone. It is 4 mana, and it has the ability, or the spell reads as Lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion. Taking damage from your cards upgrades it. Cards specifically, which probably means hero power won't work, but that does add some synergy to several of those minions we noticed that are basically having the Flame Imp effect. What's cool about this is that it becomes 3/6/9, but you are gaining health back with all of that. So it actually is the first of the spellstones that seems to straight up synergize with the thing that you're doing to upgrade it, which I like. I like the idea that you actually have lost enough health to gain it back with the ability in order to upgrade it. We also got another Toothy Chest and a Boisterous Band. That's a new one. 3 mana 3/2 neutral card. Battle Cry, give your other minions +1 health. Interesting. Probably not the best card ever. Maybe seen in priest decks? I'm not totally sure. I don't know about this guy. I need to see some testing. Probably bad, though. This is just a basic pack. Hey, we got our second Duskbreaker. That's great. And the rest of this is all repeats. We need more epics. Hey, speak of the devil. Oh, dang. 4 mana Cataclysm. 4 mana Warlock card. Destroy all minions, discard your hand. Guys, I have no idea. This actually could be really good in the right deck, because you can draw a lot of that back. You'd have to play around it, kind of, but it's the discard your hand that's crazy, but it's 4 mana. This could be really good in the right situation. I wonder if people are going to be able to put it into a deck that performs that, or that creates that situation consistently, though. All right, 25 left to go, you guys. We're a little over halfway there. And we got one new card, Violet Worm. It's an 8 mana 7/7 for all classes. With the Death Rattle, summon 7 1/1 grubs. This seems like a card that'd be good in Arena, and also seems like a card that could have some potential in other decks as well, depending. Maybe like Aggro Token Druid or something like that, actually. Cool. I want to see where this one goes. I like this card, actually. 8 mana. I think that's worth it. That's interesting. Hey, another epic. Awesome. Hey, and it's another new one. Oh, interesting. So Reckless Flurry is a weird card. You know what it reminds me of is the old Sharp Sword Oil decks that Rogue used to run, because it reminds me of, what is it, the Weapon Flurry or whatever. Basically, that would destroy your weapon and deal that much damage to all minions. This destroys all your armor and deals that much damage to all minions for 3 mana. I don't necessarily know that this is a great card for warriors. It's good. It's a good oh shit card for sure, but you have to dump all that armor you use on it, and it uses all your armor. It doesn't match it to the toughness of the minion. And most of the time when I see warriors who have like armor-based cards, they generally are hoping to have as much armor as possible. So this is an interesting one. I wonder how. I'm not totally sure what kind of deck this would best fit into. Obviously some kind of control, but I would think they'd want to keep that armor. We'll have to see. Crushing Hand. This is new too. This is a 2 mana shaman spell, and it deals 8 damage to a minion, overload 3. Interesting. I don't know. I think probably maybe worth it in some decks, because it's all about that overload. Remember that the Shaman Spellstone is upgraded with overload, so, and it's triggered by every 3 overloads, so this would trigger an upgrade to it in a single card. Probably those 2 cards were made to be played together. Interesting. Alright, got no new cards this time. It's okay. Just more dust for the old vault. And this time we got a new one, Feral Gibberer. He is a 1 mana 1/1 neutral minion, and after this minion attacks a hero, you add a copy of it to your hand. This could be actually pretty darn cool. The issue being, you know, it's not that hard to do a board clear of 1/1s and then just completely kill its momentum. But the thing is, it's a 1 mana 1/1, so even if it only triggers once, that's pretty good. I like Feral Gibberer. We'll see if he's actually worth it, since he's kind of slow, but especially since he doesn't have charge or anything. But I like it. Reminds me of a gremlin. Got 3 rares in 1 pack. That's fun. There's 100 dust. We got... Ooh, yes! Finally, the Priest Spellstone, you guys. This is going to be so good in Big Priest. At least I think it will be. 7 mana. It's not like that deck's ever hurting for mana. 7 mana Priest card. Resurrect 2 different friendly minions. Cast 4 spells to upgrade. It can resurrect up to 4 different friendly minions, you guys. This card is awesome. And you only have to cast 4 spells to upgrade. If you're playing a Resurrection Priest deck, you are basically just casting spells. The likelihood of you getting fewer than 3 with this seems pretty low to me. And the fact that it's actually 1 mana less just at its default than the original Priest Resurrection card, shit. This is an awesome card. I'm definitely excited to see. I mean, I could see a very strong and much more consistent version of Big Priest coming out this expansion, and I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. We also got Cursed Disciple here. He is a 4-mana neutral minion. He's a 5/1 with the Death Rattle, summon a 5/1 Revenant. I don't think that's very good. Then last but not least from this pack, we got Lesser Onyx Spellstone. It's a 5-mana rogue card, destroys 1 random enemy minion, and you can play 3 Death Rattle cards to upgrade it, so presumably up to 3 random enemy minions. That is pretty friggin' cool, especially because unlike something like Deadly Shot, which is destroy a random enemy minion, it's a little cheaper, but Rogue has a bit more of an ability to play around and leave only 1 minion on the board before playing the Spellstone. And also, obviously, playing Death Rattle cards as a rogue is not that difficult. So I see this being one of the better Spellstones. I think this and the Priest one here are probably 2 of the best. Yeah. Especially the Priest one. I just think that's so cool. I hope it gets play. And we got another basic ass pack. All repeats, unfortunately. Come on. Give me something good. Oh my goodness. Not all repeats. We got 1 new common. Oh, 1 new rare, actually. Hungry Etten. It's a 6-mana, 4/10 neutral minion. He has Taunt and the battle cry, summon a random 2-cost minion for your opponent. I think this card's pretty good, especially in like an arena setting. A random 2-cost minion, it's pretty unlikely to bite you in the ass, I feel like. And a 4/10 Taunt is pretty cool, but 6 mana is also a lot. I think this is going to be mostly limited to arena, but we shall see. We're getting a lot of golden commons and golden rares, but no good golden cards so far. Well, that's all right. We got all repeats this time, but it's just more dust. More dust. Increased potential to craft multiple legendaries. Wow, all repeats again. That's okay. I got a playset now of the Seeping Oozling, which is an interesting ooze to be sure. Hey, an epic, and it's a 2nd Falderai Strider. Okay, well hopefully this card does turn out to be good, because we got 2 of them now. Come on, give me something good. Nope, all repeats. That's okay. Actually, wait, have we seen the Lesser Emerald Spellstone? I don't know that we have. If we have, I might have skipped it, sorry. This is a 5-mana Hunter card, and it summons 2 3/3 wolves, and if you play a secret, it upgrades. Probably one of the easiest of these cards to get upgrades on, or easiest of these decks to get upgrades on if you have the right type of deck for it. Obviously, Secret Hunter. But summons 2 3/3 wolves. I'm guessing it can summon up to 4. That's cool. Alright. 14 more packs, you guys. We're in the home stretch here. I'm hoping we can get 1 more legendary at least. Preferably 2, but I think that might be pushing it. These are all repeats yet again. Got multiple rares at least. Hey, something new. Hooked Reaver. This card could be awesome, but seems like it could also be garbage. I think this will see play in Zoolock and similar decks. If you have less, it's a 4-mana 4/4 demon warlock card, obviously, and the battle cry is if you have 15 or less health, it gains 3/3 and taunt. So it's a 4-mana 7/7 taunt demon. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. Plus, it's another card that would get resurrected by Gul'dan's Lich King card. Everything else, unfortunately, is a repeat. But that Hooked Reaver, I'm curious to see where that goes. Hey, another epic, and it's a new one. 4-mana 3/3 Beast. It is neutral, and you can only you can target this with spells and hero powers. So it's Directional Shroud. Hexproof is what I believe it was called in Magic. Definitely cool. Directional Shroud is one of the best abilities I think ever introduced to Magic, and so I'm glad to see it getting, maybe not its own name yet, but getting card text now. Alright, another pack of repeats, that's okay. Just want at least one more legendary. Hey, new epic. This is a 3-mana neutral minion. He's a 1/3, and his battle cry is return one of your destroyed weapons to your hand. This card is amazing. I'm really happy I got it. It's pretty much good with all the legendary weapons, and yeah, I'm probably going to use it in some other decks as well. Everything else, repeat. Alright, a pair of rares. Leyline Manipulator is a new one. He is a 4-mana, 4/5 mage card. He's an elemental, and he has the battle cry, if you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. This card is crazy pants. If you don't see the value of this card, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Primordial Glyph plus this, you could be playing a Flame Strike for 3 freaking mana. This is crazy. This is insane. This is going to be in every mage deck that uses, like, Discover mechanics. It's, wow. Definitely a good card to get. Alrighty, all repeats, but some pretty good ones. We got another Explosive Runes and another Unidentified Elixir, which are both ones I liked. So many golden commons this pack opening. I swear to God, guys, you gotta give me a 3rd legendary. I've opened 53 packs. No dice so far. We got our 2nd Unidentified Maul if we didn't have it already. I'm starting to lose track. We've opened a lot of cards now, or we've flipped a lot of cards now. I'm getting pretty good epic payouts, it seems like. But Void Lord is meh, in my opinion. I could see him maybe being okay in Arena, but I don't like 9-drops very much in general. He's a 3/9 taunt, and his Death Rattle summons 3 1/3 demons with taunt. So basically, he's a giant Void Walker who's a 3/9, and when he dies, he summons 3 regular Void Walkers. Probably good for when you're resummoning demons. Definitely good. Well, I don't know. This is a weird card. I was going to say definitely good in the end game, but 9 mana 3/9 is actually not amazing. But he definitely will slow your opponent down when they're trying to finish you off, and would be pretty strong against like certain tempo decks like Rogue that need a big burst of damage at the end to finish you off. This is new too, Kobold Hermit. He's a 2-mana 1/1 Shaman minion, and his battle cry is choose a basic totem, summon it. I think we're going to see him in quite a few decks. I think he's quite good, especially with the new basic totem synergies. Let's see, we got almost all repeats, but the Scorp-O-Matic, which reminds me of Old World Blues, is here. It's a 2-mana 1/2 mech. He's neutral, and his battle cry destroys a minion with 1 or less attack. I don't know that he will see play, but I think he's cool. I definitely like Mechanical Scorpions. Alright, that's it for this pack. 3 to go, you guys. Oh my god, we're down to the wire, and I am, like, losing faith that we're going to get that last legendary. Repeats on this pack. Oh god, there's no way. We're not going to get it, are we? My heart. It's broken. Nope. Alright. Cheat Death is new. That's cool. This is a 2-mana rogue card. It's another rogue secret. This is when a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand. It costs 2 less. I think this is really cool. It's basically a Shadow Step wrapped up into a secret. It's got obviously it's got a little less control to it, and it costs a little bit more mana, but what's nice about it is you can play around it in a fun way and still run Shadow Step. You could like use this on Kalasath or something like that, which would be pretty cool. Plus, there's a lot of high value minions that this is just a good ability for. And we got our Artificer, which we've talked about before, and hey, a 2nd Leyline Manipulator. That's nice, at least. We have the makings of maybe the beginnings of a mage deck here. Looks like 2 legendaries was all I was gonna get. Kind of a bummer, actually, considering I didn't get any of the legendaries I was looking for. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and see what our dust payout is. Hopefully we have at least 1,600 so we can craft 1 legendary. I'll probably hold off on the actual crafting itself until tomorrow, though, just because I want to do some research and see where the decks are kind of landing for everybody before I spend that much dust. But for now... Oh my god, we didn't even get enough for a single legendary. Ha! Well, I'll be disenchanting some stuff. Let's just disenchant our goldens as well and see where we're at, because I do not run golden cards. because I don't spend that much money on this. Really, it's usually about 50 bucks an expansion. Disenchant it. Oh god, my internet. There we go. Get rid of a potion of polymorph. Do not need gold cards. Do need dust from gold cards. Don't care. Craft one for 100 if I really need it so bad. Get rid of these guys. I think we are going to have enough for one legendary. All thanks to all these goldens. Although if these are all golden commons, maybe not. That must have been an old one, that red mana one. No, we're still 110 dust short. Hilarious. Well, anyways, there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this pack opening video. Let's take a quick look at the new cards we got. You guys can pause the video if there's any that you missed and you wanted to get a bit of a closer look at. Probably the main thing is we did get the 2 legendary minions here. Or 2 legendary cards here. Wasn't one of them a neutral weapon though? Why don't I see it here? Maybe that's not flagged as new by default. Yeah, that's okay. So let's go check out, let's just check out the new ones for all the classes that we got. I'm just going to slowly page through. There may be some older ones that are marked new that I just hadn't looked at yet, but let's give you guys just an idea of what we paid out here. So there's Rock Delar, the worst legendary in the game. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be a surprise. And we also got Dragoncaller Alana, who is an okay mage. An okay mage dragon summoner. It'll all depend on if we do end up building one of those kind of high roll-ish randomized mage spell decks. That said, let's go ahead and run through the last of the new cards here for you guys for the last couple classes, and then we are going to pretty much be calling it. Pretty excited to see how the new expansion plays out. A little disappointed with the minions that I actually ended up getting, but you know what? You win some, you lose some. We had pretty good time last time, so maybe this is just my penance here. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below so that I know. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.